Hola a todos, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a esta pequeña entrevista para Nintendo P. Yo soy Daniel Espectro y el día de hoy estamos con un invitado muy especial que es Brjánn Sigurgeirsson. I think it's right?
Yes, that's more or less right, yeah. Hi everybody.
Él es el CEO de FormGames y de repente para los que no saben, él ha hecho los juegos de SteamWorld, SteamWorld Dig, SteamWorld Heist, SteamWorld Quest y otros juegos más. Así que lo tenemos acá en Perú, que ha venido de visita. Y vamos a hablar un poquito con él y a ver un poco sobre su visita en Perú. Hi, Brjánn. First of all, welcome to Peru.
Thanks, Daniel. It's great to be here.
Please talk a little about you for the fans.
All right. Okay. So I run a studio called Form in Sweden, and it's always cold in Sweden, or it rains all the time. So we spend very much time indoors making games. It's very practical. So I made my first game when I was 12 years old, so it's a long time ago. But yeah, it was a really stupid and bad game, so there's no credit there. But we, at Form, we started making some good games around 2010, and now it's 2019, so next year it's going to be like the 10th anniversary for the first good game, let's put it that way.
Yeah, fantastic. And how did you decide to come to Peru?
Well, it's a little bit of a story, so bear with me. But it's like this. So my daughter, she was going to start studying for high school in Sweden, and she wasn't really sure what she was going to study. Mm-hmm. But she's actually quite clever, so I wanted her to study science, to become like a mathematician or like, you know,
chemistry, physics.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So and she wasn't sure, and I said, "Come on, really? You have the brains, so you should do it." And then I said, "If you do that, and if your grades are good, then after you are done with high school, then I will take you anywhere you want in the world." And so she quit high school and with good grades, and then she said, "Now I want to go to Australia." And I said, "Oh, come on, it's so far. Right?
It's so hot.
It's hot, and it's also far, you know." So I said, "Well, can't we go somewhere interesting instead? Maybe we can go to Cuba or." And then she said, "Well, I don't want to go to Cuba." And then I said, "But listen, I really want to go to Machu Picchu. So how about that?" And she said, "Oh, that'd be great." So. That's the reason we wanted to go the Inca Trail to see Machu Picchu.
So we have to tell your daughter that you are here.
Yes, that's right. So it's very much thanks to her.
Okay. How did you start developing video games? How did you enter to the video game industry?
Yeah, So when I was a child, I made my first computer game when I was 12. It's super long ago, so like the computers were really bad.
Yeah.
Like the computer I was using, it had no storage, so we stored everything on floppy disk, and then it had no memory almost, right? Like, you know, maybe 16K of memory. So we had to make, no, even less probably, but we had to be really clever with the games. So like, and I mean, it was super simple games, but still, you couldn't really use any resources. So it was a great challenge to actually make games. And so then in 2001, we started making children's games at Form. So like,
you found Form in what year?
In 1997. So so it's
I was a little kid. I was playing Mario.
Yeah. Well, that's very good.
Yeah.
So I was playing Mario, but before 1997, right? So, but then I started Form in 97. And in the beginning, I was doing all kinds of work. We were doing, graphic design. We were making sort of IT programs, but not like real games. And then we started making like game-ish games, like gamification games. Like someone wanted us to like sell a product or something like that. And so we would make game
For
things.
companies.
Yes, for companies, right? Because all the time I felt like I can make games, but game companies, they're up here. I will never become I would never be at the head of a game company. It's like gods. I felt like
In a very far.
it's like when I was playing. I mean, you played Mario in 1997. I was playing arcade games in 1979. And I felt even then that the people who were making computer games, they were out of this world. Like super good engineers, or like just incredibly creative people. And so like when I started Images Form, I didn't intend to make a computer games company out of it. So in the beginning we did all kinds of things, and then in 2001 a company asked me if I could save like a children's game that was almost done, but the developer was
Just finished.
finish the game. And I did that, and it was so much fun. So I begged them for like a full year. It's like, please give me another game to work on. And so I got another game to work on, and then it was massive fun. And then they asked me to make a game from scratch, like a completely new game. And then we made maybe 30 games for children.
30 games, yeah.
In the beginning, in the beginning it was so exciting. But after 30 games, it was sort of like almost the same thing every time. We were almost suicidal, It was so much. It was so boring.
But then SteamWorld.
That's right.
Born.
Yeah. Yes.
How did you create the concept of SteamWorld? The robots, steampunk. How did you create that?
It was like a lunch break. No, it started like this. We wanted to because at the time in 2009, 2010, the Nintendo DSi came. It's like before that it was Nintendo DS, and with the DSi, suddenly Nintendo had a shop and people could buy our games online. So we decided, okay, let's make a game for the Nintendo DSi to see if we can have one.
The first game you do for Nintendo.
Yeah, that was the first game we made for Nintendo. So
SteamWorld Tower
Defense. That's right. Yeah, that's the one. SteamWorld Tower Defense. So we started making it, and in the beginning, it was you were playing like gold diggers, like not some nice people, like actually humans who were trying to keep evil robots from going into the gold mines. So that was the concept from the beginning. But then during lunch one day, one of the guys said, wouldn't it be more interesting if we switched it? Like the robots are the good guys and the humans are the bad guys? And we said, yeah, sure, we can try that. And it actually worked better because like the robots, they could be stationary. You could sort of just place a robot and it stands and fires, auto fires. And then we had the robots telling the story that they didn't understand why the humans were so evil and raiding their gold mines the whole time. And then when we were done with the SteamWorld Tower Defense, we released it, and we didn't know anything about marketing or PR.
You just released the game.
Yeah, and nothing. Yeah, so we said that it's like, so is someone going to buy our game?
Okay.
Right? And I think there was one outlet, I think it was IGN, they wrote a review about the game, and it was positive. So they said, like, come on everybody, this is a startup gaming company, like, let's help them out and buy their game.
Wow, amazing.
It was amazing, yeah. And the game was, I think, $5, and and we did no marketing. I don't know if they reached out to us and asked us if we could send them a code at the time, but what happened was that one review sort of made the game pay for itself. It was very cheap. I mean, we spent very little money, and then we got our money back, and we realized that, okay, that's great, because then we know that we can always try to go back to Nintendo to see if we can do like
I remember that those years, Nintendo DSi with and the Wii, the eShop from the Wii shop, they began to promote indies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was massive.
Yes.
And a lot of games came from that generation.
Yeah.
I remember World of War, for example.
Okay, right.
No, I think that Nintendo give that opportunity to all indie developers to have a place to launch their games.
I think so. It was it was a super interesting time because just during a few years there, I mean, yeah, it was really interesting. It wasn't only Nintendo who was trying. I mean, Sony was trying with the PS Vita as well, but first with Nintendo with the DSi, because Apple had released the App Store a couple of years before, and every developer I knew, like every game developer, was trying to make mobile games.
Okay.
So we realized that we made 2 games before we made SteamWorld Tower Defense for mobile, for iOS, and they were bad games. I mean, very, very simple games. But we were kind of afraid that how are we going to survive on mobile, because there are so many developers making mobile games.
Yeah.
And so then we decided to make Nintendo SteamWorld Tower Defense for Nintendo DSi. But then we felt, okay, we should try again on mobile. And then we made a game called Anthem for mobile, and it's a really, really nice game. Right?
And now you are releasing Anthem to Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, on Nintendo Switch. I'm going to speak more about that in a minute. But I'm very happy about that. But the thing was that at that time, when we released SteamWorld Tower Defense, we noted exactly that Nintendo was trying to reach out to indie developers in a way that they hadn't done before. Because before the Nintendo DSi, you needed to be a solid developer, and you couldn't be your own publisher. Typically, you would go to an already established publisher and ask them to release your game.
Yeah.
So Nintendo did it with the DSi, Sony did it with the PS Vita, Xbox had realized also the power of, so you had like the Xbox Live Arcades, and so suddenly there was this sort of tug of war, like the platform owners were trying to get hold of the indie developers, and then when we released SteamWorld Dig 2013, we became like Nintendo's baby, if you like.
Yeah, I remember I play SteamWorld Dig for the first time, and I love it.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, but I played like 1 year later or 1 year and a half later from release date. But I love it, and I say, oh my god, I need to play more of this game.
Let's make another one, right?
Yeah, and here's my next question.
Sure.
SteamWorld Dig was a very success game. I think it's the first one big hit of image and form games.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So in that time, I think, and everyone think that you are going to release immediately SteamWorld Dig 2.
Yeah.
But then you release SteamWorld Heist.
Yes.
A game inside the SteamWorld universe, but with another completely different gameplay.
That's right. Yeah.
This was like a big step, because you weren't afraid of we're making another genre of game. It was a big step. So how was the creative process in image and form to create or develop a game? Because SteamWorld Heist and SteamWorld Quest are completely different genres.
Yeah.
So how did you choose to make a genre or a game?
Well, it's a really good question. I mean, but there's a very simple answer. And The simple answer is that going back to before we started making SteamWorld games, we made children's games, and we made 30 games, and they were almost the same. You know? All those games, they were so similar to each other, and we were so tired of it. So we decided, like when we made SteamWorld Tower Defense, and then we made Anthem, and then we made SteamWorld Dig. It was always the same plan. It's like, let's make something that is completely different from before, because otherwise we will get so tired. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So that was the idea. Like after SteamWorld Dig, we were itching to make SteamWorld Dig 2. Like, we were like, oh, there's so much money to be made.
Okay.
But we realized that if we make SteamWorld Dig and then we become famous, and then the next game is SteamWorld Dig 2. It will be very difficult for us to make anything else but SteamWorld Dig 3 afterwards.
And you get trapped in a concept of the same type of game.
And then we would be back, you know, like into making the same games
all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.